Imagine what your life would look like if you stopped accepting the barriers placed in front of you. Welcome to Limitless Living with Purpose and Joy, the podcast dedicated to discovering the alternatives. Each week, we tackle the 3 hurdles of limitations that get in our way: the external pressures of society, the internal noise of self-doubt, and the physical challenges that try to slow us down. Together, we will uncover the solutions to help us live our best lives. And now, your host, Trace Kingham.
Welcome to Limitless Living with Purpose and Joy. I am Trace Kingham, and this is episode 10. We're going to be talking about the fearless path and bold living. And I'm excited to be back. It's been a few weeks of a rest for me. I always talk about putting that pause button on. So for me and my family, we did just that and just got back from travel. So excited to be back, and I'm excited about our guest today. We're really talking about, being fearless. And when I met Karen Hewitt, she is the founder and principal of Griot. She was just a powerhouse. Was super excited to meet with her and have you guys hear her story and really understand how to really live a limitless life. So I'm going to bring Karen to the stage. Welcome.
Thank you.
So excited to have you. So let's start off with a little bit about what you do. When you look at your LinkedIn page and your resume, you have a lot of plates spinning and, a lot of things that really, I think, are just really incredible. And so I want to talk a lot about that. But first of all, tell us about who you are and, how you land and all the things that you're involved in.
Yeah, personally, I am a healer. I am a lifelong learner. I'm a big kid. That's really what the baseline of it is. My work, I used to be a college basketball player and coach. I've been in so many sectors. I've been in construction. HR will take you to a lot of places. So, after coaching collegiate basketball, I was in HR, which is pretty much the same because adults and children are the same when it comes to coaching them sometimes.
So
And so
true.
now I just do basically, I feel like I just do like what I did in college coaching for adults in the workplace. And then I do a lot of space holding and I curate events and experiences. Our brand mission is for both K Hewitt Consulting and the Culture of You, the mission is to create heaven on earth one experience at a time. And so
Love
that's
that.
where the playful, that's where the joy comes in, is like, and I mean, there's also, a subversive plug in there about the patriarchy and like just knowing that we are told that we have to wait till we die to go to heaven. And personally, I don't subscribe to that. And I believe that heaven is in the mind. I believe that actually that's what God was talking about biblically, was creating heaven, creating that on
Mhm.
earth here with ourselves. So the goal is, yes, it seems playful and it seems light, but it's really subversive in the sense that we get to create heaven here before we die. We don't have to wait and live a life of work and hard work and pain and suffering, and then supposedly go to a heaven that we are not really sure if it exists or not.
Right. I love that. So thank you for sharing your story. So, you mentioned so many things that you're doing, and we'll get into those details. But if you could give our listeners one immediate piece of limitless wisdom, one specific thing they could do right now if they're feeling stuck or afraid to start something new, because when we've had our conversations, you've started a lot of things, not knowing what you're jumping into. Like me, I just do something when I get the urge and
Mhm,
to do it. So what a piece of limitless wisdom would you give our listeners when they're feeling a little
mhm.
afraid or just hesitant to try something that they've always wanted to do?
I think around the hesitation and the fear, like, it's all made up. I think that's one of the best things that I can keep remembering is like it's all made up, right? So if I can make up in my mind all the things that could go wrong, like why can't I make up in my mind all the things that could go right? And so I think that's the limitless piece of it, is like I've never done this before. This is my first round. This is your first round. Like, just, I made it up. Everything is made up. Every system, every belief, every value, every moral, like everything is made up. Like
Mhm.
morality is made up. And I think that if we remember that and watch people what they do with their free will, we might actually get a little chip on our shoulder. Like, actually, I'm going to choose to go do this cool thing with my free will instead of worrying about oppressing anybody else. So, yeah, that's what I would say. It's
I
all made
love
up.
that. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's great. Great advice. It's really, again, in that what we talk about here on this show is internal hurdles. So those are the things that I think we need to kind of um, know that we have a way to change that hurdle and change
Yeah.
that internal belief, and it's all resides inside of us. So I when you tackle things, you go out of your comfort zone, and so many people, they stay small or afraid. How do you quiet that internal hurdle, like we just talked about? How do you that voice? Because we all have that voice of doubt, that voice that you can't do that, you're not good enough. Uh, when when that comes up for you, what things do you do, or what advice would you give listeners to kind of help just pave the way, no matter what's going
Mhm.
on?
Yeah, I don't know if I try to quiet it first at first. I think that I'm neurodivergent. I have a lot of pattern recognition. And the thing about being an overthinker when you're neurodivergent is often you're right. So
Mhm,
it's kind of frustrating because like people are like, oh, don't listen to that. And I'm like, well, actually, I kind of need to listen to that. Because
mm,
I need to check in with my body, of course, too, and see if that's trying to give me some wisdom that I should not pursue this thing
mm.
or not pursue it right now. So I definitely listen to it and sit with it. But then I also, um, try to remember, like, when I connect with myself, that okay, I know my physical cues to the
Mhm,
heart yes. I know my physical cues to a heart no. Um, I know how to remember who I am, and I have a lot of those tools. I've used so many tools over time because I've needed so much to really regulate my nervous system and reconnect with myself because life taught me to abandon myself, in so many ways. And so I think that,
mhm,
but I also was, an athlete from a very early age. I had a full body cast at 6 months. I was an athlete. I went
wow,
to college for basketball. I've played on NCAA tournament stages in front of, live television, national television against like Connecticut, So like at the end of the
mm,
day, I I have had to continually ground until I found out what that meant in real life, like not just in
mhm,
sports. I've had to ground all the time because I've been having these big experiences, and I do really well under pressure. And that is, I think I don't know, it's something like 5 to 10% of people play college athletics. And so like, there's a certain amount of like insanity I think you have to go into that space. But I just try to talk myself out of it. I try to talk myself
mhm.
out of it. I try to prove myself to myself, and any failure is a lesson. And so, just go and see. I'm a life path one. It's like go and see. You don't know. You don't know until you
Right.
try. And so I would definitely have more regret if I didn't try things than if I just listened to that and stayed home. I don't know what FOMO is for like when you don't try. Maybe photo. Fear of trying photo. Fear of trying again.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, so if it's what if someone doesn't really know how to
Mm,
take the routes and really ground themselves, like you say, or really
mhm,
just kind of tune into themselves and understand, because a lot of times we're conditioned from those external voices and hurdles that we have
mhm,
to navigate in the world that we
mhm.
live in, that tell us, no, you're not good enough, no, you can't do that because of what you look like, no, you can't do that because of the gender that you are. What advice would you give someone that is just knows that they're on the right path, but is struggling with navigating those hurdles, those barriers that are trying to prevent us from living our best lives?
I mean, I think the "It's All Made Up" is really helpful here as well.
Mhm,
But I think you gotta find a support system. Like, at the end of the day, I have a polarity community, that is my personal spiritual practice. I have a hoodoo community, like, that is also spiritual practice. I have a Christian community, right? Like, I have all these communities, and in the education space, we call it non-academic barriers, and there's, like, 55 non-academic barriers. And it's like, do you have food? Do you have your basic needs met? Do you have all of these things done? And when I think about that, as far as my brain and how it's working and what it's doing, it's important to be like, all right, my basic needs are met. I'm okay. And really check in. And sometimes I have to call my best friend and be like, I'm like, the thoughts are thoughting again. Like, help me out here.
Mhm.
And I have a therapist, I have a psychologist, you know what I mean? Like, I have all these things. And I think the biggest thing for me is I understand the privilege that that comes with. I understand what it means to be able to pay for a development weekend doing polarity practitioner training, right? Like, I know what it means to go on a retreat and be doing yoga and to have access to healthy vegan
Mhm.
food and like access to care and different ways to do self-care. And I think that's the difference. Typically, that's the difference. It's not that we don't deserve it, or we just don't have access to it. We've never really seen it, and that's the difference. And so really
Mhm.
just giving access to people. I mean, mentors. I've had mentors that have supported me. Now I'm a mentor that supports others. And I'm like, here, there's this resource here. It could even be a link to grants, or it could be a link to something that could uh really support your basic needs, but then you have more room, right? Like you have more
Mhm.
capacity and
Uh-huh.
room to do whatever you were trying to do in the first place. I think a lot of times those access to resources and uh opportunities are what keeps us where we are, and then not having a support network of people that can affirm us, encourage us, and challenge us.
Nice. That's great advice. Thank you for sharing that. So, switching gears a little bit, because thinking about all the things that you're involved in,
Mhm,
you're an author, you're a writer, you're working on a project right now that I think is really
mhm,
passion project for you.
mhm,
Um, you've got all these spinning plates, as I mentioned earlier, demands of your time.
mhm,
So, what advice would you give for someone like, that's in that situation? Maybe they've got a, family situation, lots of kids and spouses and demands on their time. And how do you find keep the joy in everything that you're doing? How do you keep that through when there's pressure to, you've got clients that you're needing to deliver, but how do you
mhm.
keep the joy in your work?
Hmm. That's a layered question. I would say that, like, as far as just first with the demands and everything like that, I think society really pushes us, and it is a tenet of white supremacy. Like the society really pushes us around urgency, and
Hmm.
perfectionism. And I just don't subscribe to that. I have no interest in that. And so typically the people that are working with me know that. I'm pretty much like that up front. I have multiple times, maybe a couple times within a quarter, where I will completely pause meetings and like move everything back so I can have some space and time. Like that's the biggest thing with me, is making sure I have enough space and time to create
So
or to
important.
fulfill
Yeah.
those tasks, with those duties with those clients. And I communicate. Like I had something that I thought I would be able to do today. I'm not going to be able to do it till tomorrow, but I let the client know, right? Like I just let the
Hmm.
client know, like, hey, I know I said this day, but I'm going to do it. Like that proactive communication.
Hmm.
Um, and then also, it's really important to not like I'm really responsive, and I realize that that's a nervous system thing. That's about, attachment styles, whatever you want to call it, but I think that's a nervous system thing where I'm like, I have to be responsive. I have to remember that I'm not just what I produce. I'm not just what I'm here to do. I'm
Hmm.
here to be a human and have a human experience. And when I speak up and say, hey, I have to rearrange this. I don't have capacity for this right now, and I actually
Hmm.
want to be my best for you in this moment. People are receptive to that, and then that gives them permission to reschedule. That gives them permission to adjust a timeline or a deadline, because nobody knows your deadlines but you. And so like at the end of the day, it's like it's that communication and that ability to be vulnerable and say what you need, and access your own wants, and you have to be connected with yourself to know what you need or want. And so
Hmm.
to be able to like take a pause, take a second, and be like, okay, there are days when I wake up and I have nothing, I have no spoons, and I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, I have 5 meetings today. Which meetings do I have to take, and then which meetings can I move? And
Hmm.
I think that's a really important thing. To I do that almost every day. Like, and what kind of experience do I want? Do I want to have the experience where I'm not prepared and I'm not ready and I want to go in there and feel like inadequate in a meeting? No, like I want to wait and I want to be fully prepared because I care about this. So here's my availability for next week. And I think that just being strategic around that. And then if I'm moving everything from one week, I'm not going to move it all to the next week. I'm gonna move it throughout the next few weeks. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like just little strategy stuff like that. That just I'm always my word of the year is spaciousness, and so I'm always looking for ways that I can create spaciousness in my calendar.
I love that. Yeah. I
And
mean,
with
I feel
clients, right? Like that spaciousness is
right.
important with clients too.
They want you to, I mean, I think clients, I work with mission driven organizations as
Mhm.
well, and they're leaning in on advice. And so they want us at our best, they
Yeah.
don't. And so I feel like I've learned that lately that I am more than what I produce,
Mhm.
as you
Mhm.
mentioned earlier. And
Mhm.
that's hard because we are coming from a world where we measure our success by what we produce. And
Absolutely.
so I feel like taking that pause, and that's what I've talked about on the show multiple times, that pause or giving yourself, as you call, space is just so important. It's just really because it's freeing me up to have more joy in what I do versus looking at it
Mhm.
as bitter and anger that I have to do this because
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
exhausted because I didn't give
Mhm.
myself the space to be adequate and be myself to do that in. And so I think it's what you shared is very good advice for anyone listening, even if they're in a position where they're working for an organization. Sometimes they're going to get pushback from their leadership, but I think
Mhm.
if you position it the way you just shared, it could become a really good win-win for them. So anyone would love to know if you try that, to take that advice, what experience you had from that would be great. So, um, Karen, what how do you stay positive? I mean, that's the other piece I think in all of this. Whenever I meet with you or whenever I've been in calls with you, you just you just have a positive aura about you. And I just wanted to just, for guests listening that how do you because it's probably not lollipops and rainbows all the time, is it? But
No way.
it's just like, and I think that's an unrealistic goal if you want it to be positive all the time. But
Mhm.
just talking about that, what would you think that would be good advice for someone that's really wanting to live a life of limitless possibilities, but
Mhm.
remaining positive when we face the challenges that we face in every day. We face a challenge or a interruption or a unexpected outcome, that we have to deal with. So how do you stay positive when you are kind of down?
I don't. That's the point. I don't.
Right.
Everything that I am in that moment, what you see out here is what I am inside.
Mm,
And it matches. And it hasn't
great.
always matched. It has not always matched. I did a lot of work with a human design coach and I was underreacting. I was not
Mm,
allowing myself to fully feel big emotions. I'm a
mhm,
Leo, rising Leo sun. Like, I mean, I have big emotions and I wasn't allowing myself to fully feel them. So that's really when you get stuck is you haven't
mhm,
moved through the emotion to move on to the next moment. And so just being present with disappointment, being present with like, I mean, I'm able to be here like this with you because 20 minutes ago I was crying and journaling about whatever, was going on this morning and or taking a walk or doing whatever. Like
mhm,
I do a lot of grounding. I do not live with my spouse. Like I have my own room, I have my own space, and oftentimes I'm spending 10 to 12 hours a night silent because I need that for my nervous system. I have autism and ADHD. Like I need
mhm,
that for my nervous system because the world is so intrusive. The world is so loud to me. So like
mhm,
I have to have that restorative time, but that grounding time, that journaling, that
mm,
meditating, that care, that routine in the morning. And I mix up my routine because some mornings I need movement and some mornings I need stillness and some mornings I need to create and some mornings I need to produce. It just depends on what the morning energy is giving me, but I will do that. But I don't care to be happy all the time. I care to be real and authentic all the time,
mm,
and that makes space for those feelings to move through. And then I'm at rest. My nervous system is good, and I'm showing up rested. I'm gonna show up with joy because that's how I am. Like I'm a comedian like, by nature. My dad was that way. I mean, we was just clowning each other all the time in our house. So, I'm and me and my sister are like that. Like we have our own little language. So I'm generally like that. And I think we all generally are to start, you know what I mean? But then the world does what the world does. And I think that we just
mhm,
have to remember that it's okay to express. I think, I don't know if it was the church or just society, but I was always told that I couldn't couldn't express. Like, we're always
Right.
reminded of the story of Job and like how everything got taken away from him for questioning
Mhm.
God. And it's like, no, you can actually question it. You can surrender and you can say like, I'm frustrated. I need help. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
we've been taught so long to not think that our experience is communal. It's communal. It's the collective. It's not just ours. We're not alone.
That's right. I mean, Karen, I could just keep talking and talking. You have just, this has been so much fun. So
Yes,
I would like for our listeners to know a little bit about your consulting work, just so,
sure.
what are you doing for organizations and
Mhm.
clients?
Sure. So I am working with culture. I am I in my book Culture Impact, I talk about culture being values, policy, language, and traditions. And we all are culture creators. We are all responsible for how we show up in a space. And the combination of all of us showing up is our culture. That's what happens.
Mhm.
And so none of us are exempt from being responsible for being part of the culture that we create. I also do grounding and capacity coaching, whether it be
Mm.
through workshops, like team workshops, group workshops. I've done a lot of connection workshops because we say connection is the cure. Connection is the cure to everything right now. And so, getting teams to be able to connect, to have hard conversations, to have language around boundaries. So, it's employee wellness, learning and development, kind of the HR thing. I can do the traditional HR things, but mainly I'm dealing with the people around what is needed here to make this the most fruitful and positive heaven like experience that you could have in a workplace, right?
Nice.
And then with the Culture of You, it's a transformational storytelling platform. And we center the stories of the people mostly in the margins. And that can be anything that you can think of that isn't centered currently right now. You could probably look at our government and whoever's not there. Like that's who I really center
Mhm.
myself around. And we're telling stories and we're curating
Yeah.
experiences that create connection and they're for the culture. So that could be anything. I just did an educational Juneteenth video for a law firm, or it could be, we're curating TEDx King Lincoln Bronzeville. We've done live recordings of a podcast. We're on hold right now because we have a comedy show that we're producing. I'm on the radio every week doing Capacity with Karen, a segment in my friend's indie artist show. And so like it's art, it's community, it's culture, and we're just creating experiences where we connect more deeply and more meaningfully, and really heal and get through this weird moment right now.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
good word for it. So, well, Karen, thank you for being a beacon of positivity. I mean, this has been
Hmm.
great, showing us, you can be high achieving, you can be restored, you can take care of yourself. So, if anyone wants to reach out to you or maybe learn more, where's the best place to go for that?
The best place to go is cultureofyou.com. That is the website. It has all the publications, it has all my podcast episodes, it has all the
Nice.
link tree links if you want to come to my shows and do stuff like that. If you want, it has an intake link if you want to work with me in the professional sector. So anything you need is going to be on there, and just a little more language too if it wasn't as clear here. So Culture of You, where we talk about, becoming the person, leader, lover you want to be.
That's great. Well, thanks again. So, if Karen's story inspired you today, please subscribe, share this episode. You can visit limitlesslivingwithpurposeandjoy.com for more resources. I'll be sure to post more information about Karen on there. And I am Trace Kingham. Be fearless. Let's live limitless, and we'll catch you on the next episode. Take care. Thanks, Karen.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Limitless Living with Purpose and Joy. Subscribe and follow. New episodes are released every Wednesday. Find the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, or wherever you get your podcasts. Visit limitlesslivingwithpurposeandjoy.com for more information on our topic and our guest.